we don't necessarily have an hour, 2 hours to block off every day for this like self-care ritual that you see on social media. That's like a 20-step skincare plan. That's like not a thing, right? But I was like, but I could make a really nice hand sanitizer and you could spray it and that could feel like self-care throughout the day. Or if you go to a restroom, especially for women, you could bring your own toilet seat covers and I could make it really aesthetic.
Yeah, make it feel like it's high end and you feel like, yeah.
High end and like it's luxurious and we're all using the restroom every day. So like, why not elevate that experience for yourself?
Hey there, I'm Cody McGuffie. I'm a husband, dad of 3, and I'm the founder of EverBee.
EverBee.
Where we serve over 1 million creators across the globe, helping them grow thriving online businesses. I believe every single human is a creator, and I believe every single creator should own a business. A business that gives them the freedom to build the life that they dream of. Built Online is where creators, entrepreneurs, and leaders get real insights, real stories, and the edge to build something that actually lasts. This is where the next generation of builders get built. Julianna, how are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Super fired up and excited to have you on and dive into your story. How's your day so far?
It has been good. We are currently in busy season, as I'm sure a lot of your customer base is as well. Q4 is crazy. But I mean, busy is good. So I'd rather be busy than not busy during Q4.
Super cool. I'm excited to just have you on. A lot of different reasons, selfish reasons, because I just want to learn more about your story, how you built your following that you've built, and then how you transitioned into being a product-based founder. Like, there's so many things that I personally want to know, but I also know that there's going to be so many things that our listeners really get value out of because they're aspiring founders, they are founders, and they just want to hear about how you've built what you've built and where you're going.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm super excited to dive into everything.
Let's do it. First of all, who are you? How'd you get here? Maybe tell like a little bit of your story, and then I can kind of like probe more.
So I'm Julianna. I am the content creator behind the socials Julianna Claire on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I'm on Pinterest. I'm on all the major social media platforms at this point. I've been a content creator for over 10 years now, going on 11, which is actually wild to think about.
Insane.
And this past year in 2025, I launched my very own company. We are a very small business called ROAME. And our tagline is keeping you clean wherever you roam. And they are self-care essentials that you can use throughout your day as you go about living your life. And so I really wanted to provide affordable but luxurious products that you can use specifically kind of like while you're using the restroom. So we have hand sanitizer, toilet seat covers are right here. We've got single pack wipes right here. And then we have our award winning, because we just won a People Magazine Travel Award in 2025 for our soap sheets. So those are our 4 core products that we launched with. Yes. So very excited.
Yeah, super, super exciting. I didn't know that it was just recently started this year.
Yeah, so this year we're brand new. Mm-hmm.
Congratulations. Yeah. The website for anyone listening to this is roameclean.com. It's ROAMECLEAN clean.com. And it does kind of give that vibe, exactly what you said, like affordable, but also like luxurious type of feel. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I can tell that like your experience of content creation has translated to like brand storytelling on your guys' side as well. So that's really awesome.
It's what I love, creating content. Like I said, I've been doing it for going on 11 years. And creating content as a content creator is so different from creating content as a business owner. They don't necessarily translate, but the storytelling is the same. Because I think that if you're going to create content online, you should be telling a story. What's the point you're trying to get across? Like, why are you posting this type of content? Is it informational? Is it educational? Is it funny? What's your why? And so that doesn't change regardless if you're a content creator or a business owner, creating content for social media.
Amazing. I want to go back to take us back to when you maybe before you started content. What were you doing before 11 years ago? What were you doing before like creating your first content?
Yeah, so I actually graduated from the United States Military Academy in 2013. So when you graduate from there, you commission as a second lieutenant in the Army. So I was a Army officer. So this is way back. So this is 2013. I had just graduated West Point. I was at my very first duty station at Fort Lewis, Washington, which is right next to Seattle. And as you can imagine, the Army is extremely regimented. And I had just done 4 years of essentially a military college, also very regimented. And now I had a little bit of say in my free time in terms of what I wanted to do. And I knew I needed a creative outlet. And at the time, and you probably remember this, Cody, because I feel like you're an OG too. There was a little buzz around this app called Instagram. And I remember I was like, what is this? So I remember I created a profile. It was at Julianna_Claire, which I have kept all these years. And I popped on there. And in the explore page, at the time, it was just images on Instagram. Now you can do carousels and videos, and there's so many different media types that you can upload. But at the time, it was just pictures. And I stumbled across this group of women who were uploading the most beautiful images that I have ever seen in my life. I felt like I was just being transported into a different world. And I started following these women. And after probably about a month, I was like, what is this? When I realized that like this is what they were doing full time. And underneath one of their names, the title said blogger. And I was like, what the heck is a blogger? Because this was all so new back then. Like there was no term influencer, you know, a very small percentage of people were actually making a
What year was
living.
this, you think?
2013. It was October of 2013.
Crazy.
I will never forget that. And I remember sitting in my car. I've had like a handful of light bulb moments in my life. And I was sitting in my car. It was 5:30 in the morning. It was right before Army PT, physical training. And I remember sitting in my car, I go, this is what I want to do with my life. Like this is what I want to do. And I remember thinking to myself, well, that's great, Julianna, but you have 5 years left of active duty Army service to do. And you are deploying to Afghanistan in less than 6 months. Like, when are you going to do this? And so I actually started doing research because again, there was nothing about how to start a blog, anything. So I went to Barnes and Noble. I got, I'm not kidding, Vlogging for Dummies. I got Photography 101. I got all these books and brought them to Afghanistan with me. And in my very limited free time, I was learning about hosting and how to get a domain. And so I started my fashion blog while I was in Afghanistan because why not? You know, I mean, who's stopping me? So I started it then, like just kind of getting the website created. And then when I redeployed 8.5 months later, within a month or two, it was up and running. I used all my free time. So every single weekend when I got home from work, if I had some free time during lunch, I was creating content. I was blogging. It was such a joy. I was having so much fun. I was not making a dime. I was not making a dime, but I was having the time of my life. And so I did that for 4 years as I finished up my military service. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give myself 6 months to try and do this full time. And if I can't make a living doing this in 6 months, then I will go find a job in corporate. And I feel very fortunate because I was married at the time. So my husband, like if I were to just completely bomb, you know, my husband could financially support us. So I felt very grateful that I had that privilege to kind of take this opportunity. And it worked. And I have never looked back since. I've been creating content ever since then. And then 4 years ago, back in, when would that be? 2020, 2021. Being an influencer, being a content creator, sometimes it keeps me up at night because I always worry, and maybe this is a personal insecurity, but like, are people going to get sick of me? Are people not going to like my content anymore? The income fluctuates from month to month, right? There's not like a set income. And I thought to myself, I really want to start my own brand.
Yep.
Same kind of situation as when I was at Fort Lewis. Like, okay, that's great, Juliana, but like, what's your product? You have no money to start your own brand. Like, how do you do this? How do you find a manufacturer? Like, there's so many questions. And so I started saving up my money. Took 2 years to figure out what products I really wanted to create. And my audience on social media really helped
Yes,
guide
absolutely.
me in that. And I was looking at what people were purchasing through affiliate marketing. And affiliate marketing is where, I help potentially sell something through organic content. And then if someone purchases something, I might get a small kickback on that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so what people were really purchasing
From
were,
you particularly?
from
Yeah.
me particularly, because
Beautiful.
I don't have access to anyone else's, but from me particularly was these self-care items that they could take with them on the go. And I had just become a mom, and it was another light bulb moment. I was like, this is what women and men need, is to feel this little moment of self-care throughout the day. Because with so many of us, right? You told me you have 3 kids. I have a daughter. You run your own business. So many of your audience members are founders running their own business. They're busy. We don't necessarily have an hour, 2 hours to block off every day for this like self-care ritual that you see on social media. That's like a 20-step skincare plan.
Yeah.
That's like not a thing, right? But I was like, but I could make a really nice hand sanitizer and you could spray it and that could feel like self-care throughout the day. Or if go to a restroom, especially for women, you could bring your own toilet seat covers and I could make it, really aesthetic.
Yeah, make
So
it feel
it
like
feels like
it's high end and you feel like, yeah.
high end and like it's luxurious and we're all using the restroom every day. So like, why not elevate that experience for yourself? And so I started doing research and we launched ROAME this year. We're very, very small, but I'm so proud of the progress that we've
So
made so
cool.
far. So that's really my story in a nutshell.
No, you did a great job of telling that story, and thank
Thank
you
you.
for sharing that. Yeah, it's there were so many questions that I wanted to like enter, but I kind of just wanted to keep on listening to you kind of
Yeah.
tell. Going back to when 2 years ago, when you decided, okay, I'm going to start a brand of some sort. That's pretty much what the outcome was, or the insight or the epiphany was.
Mm-hmm.
Were you already making an income? You must have been sustainable as a content
Yes.
creator, like some sort of income.
Yes, correct.
How were you driving primarily like your I guess your life at that point? Like how were you driving income from as just a content creator by itself? Was it affiliate commissions primarily, or was it also partnership deals, sponsorship deals? What was that? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think when you're a content creator, especially since it's evolved so much over the last decade, I would say 10 years ago, it was primarily through sponsorships where a client would come to you, say, hey, we have set amount, you do these deliverables. Great. That is definitely a revenue income source. For me, my strength, I think, really is in affiliate marketing, where I can share these products organically. These are products that I use every single day. And then if my audience wants to purchase those items for themselves, then I have a storefront or some type of affiliate marketing page where they can go and kind of browse all of those items. And for me, that worked really well for my audience. But every content creator, again, is like a
Totally.
little different the way that they structure their business.
Okay, so that's what you were doing primarily on affiliate commissions. And did you feel like this? Because obviously you have a very substantial following, and for anybody that doesn't know, what is the total following count? It's like 1 million on Instagram. You could brag about permission to fully brag here.
Well, I'll just list off the facts. So it's 2.9 million on Instagram, 2.9 million on TikTok, 1 million followers on my Amazon storefront, and almost 500,000 on YouTube.
Incredible. So you had to, congratulations on all that, by the way.
Yeah.
None of that is easy. And the fact that you've been able to do it is just
Oh, thank you.
in itself. And you know that. But you also probably, this epiphany probably came from like, man, I have all of this following. I have all this leverage. And I can actually leverage this thing into really providing something that's like could be life changing for myself, my family, and for my future, while also helping a whole bunch of people at the same time. And I
Yeah.
feel like was that the frame of thinking that you had at that time, or did you not really think about it too much? You're just like, I just want to start a brand.
That's a great question. So there's like levels to answering that question.
Yep.
So if I rewind it back a little bit, I've always had a calling to like serve or to feel to provide value to people's lives. And again, that has clearly taken very many forms in my life. So the most obvious one was being an Army officer, but wanting to serve or wanting to provide value to people has never really gone away for me. And I just kind of transitioned that into a more creative field. And I truly think, especially now, because I heard this statistic and it was mind blowing, that I believe it was Gen Z, the percentage of them who want to become influencers is 53% or higher. And a lot of them think it's a get rich quick scheme. And if you go into creating content or you go in trying to grow an audience and your main goal is to make money, I promise you're not going to make a dime, because that's very self-focused. That's very you-focused, right? My take has always been the larger your audience, the larger the responsibility. And it's like you should be providing value to your audience always. Like, it doesn't matter if you have 5 followers, 500,000 followers, 5 million, you should always be providing value. And so I think that that's what I've always done. And I think my core fear, if I'm being super honest, was, well, what if there comes a day when I feel like I'm not able to provide my audience value through creating content? I want to be able to have like my own product that I feel like I'm able to provide value to continue to provide value and show up for this community that has believed in me for so long. And so it's the same concept, but it's just kind of transitioned into different forms over the years. Hopefully that makes sense.
It does, for
That
sure.
was like my driving force, was like always providing value, like always wanting to like give back to my audience, who I just don't take it for granted ever. Because again, in this field of influencers and content creators, we're a dime a dozen, right? There's thousands of us, tens of thousands of us, like, and there's people who want your spot. And so if you get too comfortable, or if you start to take advantage of your audience, which I see all the time, they're just going to leave and they're going to go find someone else who doesn't do that. And so you should always be respecting the community that you have. And they're smart. Like, you should never take advantage of them ever.
I could see that too. I could see that. I haven't really actually thought about it from that perspective, but I could see that could be totally a fear. My fear, tell me if I'm like wrong. I guess if one of my fears would be probably the platform itself, like the algorithm, like somehow deprioritizing me or something like this, or somehow I like lose my profile or something like this. But again, that's coming from somebody that doesn't have a large Instagram following, TikTok following, right? So how is that even a rational fear? Or
no, I think it's super rational, but the thing with the algorithm, because I've been doing this for so long, I mean, knock on wood, there's going to be time periods where your content is prioritized, and then it's going to dip, and then it's going to go back up again, and then it's going to dip. And that's just all part of the process. I saw this quote. What was it? It was like, no plant or flower grows year round. It's not a thing. And so there's going to be times when you grow and you're blooming and you're blossoming and you feel like you're on top of the world. And then there's other periods where you kind of need to rest, or maybe you're not prioritized, and that's okay too. But you still continue to show up. It's the consistency, it's the nurturing of your audience, and just continuing to show up and providing value for them, regardless of the algorithm.
It's such like great business advice, but also just like great life advice, just in general.
Yeah.
I love that. I haven't heard that quote before, but I could total so much value
in that. Nothing in nature blooms year round. Nothing.
Very interesting. Yeah. Okay, so now you decide, okay, I'm going to build some sort of brand, and then 2 years later, you actually end up launching.
4 years.
4 years later, you actually end up launching the brand. What was important for you that this brand had to have in order for you to like really make the leap? Because 4 years is a long time, right? You could have made it in 2 months, in theory, if you knew everything that you knew. But it was a journey, obviously, to get to this point. So what did that journey look like? Like what had to be, what kind of decisions and frame of thinking did you have to have?
And hopefully every business owner goes into this, but I wanted the highest quality products. And so this hand sanitizer, oh my goodness. So this hand sanitizer took 2 years to formulate. I think I must have gone through 40 or 60 samples, and the goal was to create a hand sanitizer. And I'm just using this as an example, to create a hand sanitizer that left your hands hydrated, not sticky, and there was absolutely no alcohol after scent to it. Like, I honestly wanted it to feel more like a perfume than a hand sanitizer. And nothing else is like it on the market. And I remember after about a year and a half of going back and forth with my manufacturer, they were like, this, what you're asking for doesn't exist. It can't be done. And I was like, let's just keep going. Let's just keep trying. Like, just stick with me here. Like, I thought they were going to quit on me, to be honest. And they didn't. I think we went through 3 more rounds and we finally perfected it. And then we got it over the counter registered with the FDA, which is actually something I'm insanely proud of. So essentially you submit your formula and everything to the FDA, and they go through it and they make sure, because hand sanitizer is heavily regulated, but I wanted that extra stamp of approval. So when we make these claims of, it kills 99.9% of most common germs and bacteria, I have the FDA, stamp of approval that says, yes, it does actually do this. So all of our products have also gone through additional testing, because I don't want to take advantage of my customer base. It goes back to like providing value, creating that trust, nurturing that community. Even if it's one customer, I want them to have.
That's the cool thing. I love that. That's the cool thing about when you actually start with an audience. Not that you started with it. You built an audience and then you're launching a brand with your audience. Like, you feel like there's a sense of duty to them to make sure that, because your name is on the line here, right? Your credibility is on the line. And so when you launch a bad hand sanitizer product, for example, like
I wasn't gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly. You erode trust, credibility, and then it also, like, not only does the product suck, but also like you start to lose trust with your audience. And so both your businesses kind of just fail when it comes to that. So that's really awesome.
I think that was my biggest fear. It was like, will they come back? Right. It's not that it's easy to get a customer to purchase for the first time. I do think it's a little bit easier. I think it's harder to get second and third time customers, right? Because that means that they've bought into the product, they've bought into your brand. That's harder to do in this day and age with so many products on the market. And ROAME, we have an over 38% customer return rate already, which is, and again, like, that really speaks to the quality of our product. So we have a customer base. It's small, but they're there and I love them. But they keep coming back because they love the products and they're good quality. And so
everything starts small. So who cares? Like, you guys are brand new. And even if it takes you, I was just reading a post the other day, yesterday, I think it was, somebody sent it to me. And it was like, it took me 6 years to get to $1 million. And then it took me two more years, or not me, but the team. So 6 years, 0 to $1 million. And then in revenue. And then another 2 years to get to $100 million in revenue. So it's like, it's
wild.
Business is like so exponential. It's not linear all the time. So it was just a cool story of just persistence. And you're obviously you have so many assets that you already have and you're leveraging with your audience, and obviously a great product. It's certainly not going to take you 6 years, but that's amazing.
And if it does, so be it. I mean, it took me, I honestly didn't make a dime for 4 or 5 years when I was creating content originally, and I didn't care. But again, I know that that's coming from a place of privilege, right? Because I had another job and I didn't have kids at the time. So like, I understand that there's some privilege involved in that, and I acknowledge that. But yeah, I just was having a blast. And I think if you're doing something that you're passionate about and you love, then the money will come later. I think that people sometimes get so caught up in the money that they're missing some of these other pillars that need to be met. Like, is it a good quality product? Is it reasonably priced? What does your website look like? And it's like, you have to check off all these boxes. Yeah. And I think that, making money is a sign that all the other systems are working. But usually that's the last thing that's going to come in is the money.
It's the byproduct.
Unfortunately, when you're running a business, unfortunately.
That's just the way it is.
It's the first thing, but it's not.
I want to talk to you about, I want to ask you about your product selection too. Obviously the hand sanitizer was one. You also have a couple of different bags, pouches. Mm-hmm. You also have, you showed the wipes already. And I'm curious of how as a founder, how did you select these things? Was it purely based on, okay, I'm a woman and this is what we should just have when we go live? Or are you thinking about this at all from a business lens of like, okay, sanitizer is a replenishable thing, it's a consumable thing, it runs out, repeat customers will come, assuming they like the product, of course. Wipes, kind of the same thing. Did you think about any of that stuff up front?
I thought about everything. I thought about all of it. Because when I was looking at what I wanted to do to build a brand, I was looking at so many different areas in the market. And one thing that I definitely wanted to do was a replenishable product. So that way, hopefully, I could continue to build that customer base. Because with some of these other products, let's just use travel, for example. Wonderful industry, not necessarily one that I'm interested in because you're constantly looking to find new customers, right? To kind of bring into the company. I think when you have a product that's replenishable, you don't necessarily have to keep finding new customers. You can work on nurturing the customer base that you already have. And so for me personally, that was more intriguing than constantly having to go and look for more customers and more customers and more customers. So yeah, that definitely played a role in it. And then in terms of like finding the products, I think it's not just one thing. Yes, these are items that I love to use as a woman, and I couldn't find anything else like it on the market. And maybe I'm just a clean freak, but I do not want to sit on a public toilet seat. And a lot of these places do offer toilet seat covers, but there's no cover on them. So when someone's using the restroom and like particles are going in the air, some of them are probably going on that toilet seat cover,
Mm.
which is so gross to think about. You could not pay me to touch one of those. So that was some inspiration. And honestly, my daughter's name is Roman,
Mm,
ROMAN,
cool.
and she's named after, it's like the brand is kind of named after her, Rome, play on her name. So when I became a mom, I think that was my main inspiration because I remember before I was pregnant, and you have 3 kids and you're married, so you probably already know this, but I remember hearing women being like, I didn't even have time to shower. And I believed them 100%, but I was like, man, like, what do you mean you didn't have time to shower?
Mhm.
Like, what? And then I had my daughter Roman, and I didn't have time to shower. And I was
Interesting.
like, what the heck? And so again, like I would look at some of these videos on socials with like these massive skincare routines or these elaborate self-care nights. And I was like, I don't have time to even brush my hair. And I was like, but I do use the bathroom. And I was like, these would be so nice to have just to kind of elevate that experience as a busy mom, a busy
Love that.
businesswoman, like whether you're like a C-level woman or man in corporate, or you're a stay-at-home mom, which is super important in a 24/7 job. Everyone deserves to have a little bit of self-care throughout their day. And so that was another kind of piece of building this brand.
I love this.
Mhm.
There's so many takeaways in here for new founders, but also just like people in the running their companies and building their companies that are listening to this today. But one thing that just like spilling out of you is like customer obsession. Like you're extremely obsessed with like your audience, your customers, the products that you're delivering, the solutions that you're bringing. Um, and I could feel your passion coming out
Oh
of it.
yeah, I'm so passionate about it. It's like
Yeah.
it's so funny because it's like, who's passionate about toilet seat covers? Me.
Well, that's what it takes, and I think that's the one of the takeaways I want to kind of like drill down on before we finish up is like, um, this is what it takes to like build a successful brand, a successful business. It takes this like obsessive like that right what you said is like who's passionate about toilet seat covers, like that's what it takes, the
Mhm.
obsession.
Yeah.
And I want someone that's considering starting a brand or maybe they're in their founding story right now, to take that away. Is like get obsessed with what you are doing,
Mhm.
whatever it takes. If it's
Who
starting a new
cares what
product,
I
exactly,
don't like I didn't care if people thought I was weird for toilet seat covers. It's what I love. It's what I'm passionate about. It's like, do you, and that passion is going to come through when you start talking about your product.
totally. And the cool thing about it is like today too, it's like maybe you don't know yet, and that's okay. But the point is like lean into something. It could
Mhm.
be if it's a t-shirt design company, lean into the specific brand. If it's like nurse moms or something like
Yeah.
this, like be obsessed with that, her, that nurse, the mom that
Well,
happens to be a nurse or something like this.
I actually wrote, can I tell you this? So when I was trying to figure out who my customer base was, I actually developed, or I wrote down and basically created my core customer base. I made a name for her. I kind of had her age. I wrote down what activities she would do. I wrote down where she was shopping. I mean, I created like this whole persona of who I was creating this product for. And I would say for anyone who is trying to figure out what type of product that they want, they know they want to be an entrepreneur, they know they want to be a founder, that could be a potentially very helpful exercise in terms of kind of narrowing down your niche and who you're selling for.
I love that. Where do you want to take, where do you see ROAME going? Like, is the goal to, I'm sure you've thought about this, you're a thoughtful person who thinks kind of ahead. Um, do you want to build this company to sell it one day? Do you want to build this company to just like operate this like an amazing lifestyle business? What's the outcome that would be ideal for you?
I mean, I don't want to sell it. I would ideally love to continue to grow the customer base, I'm looking to get into wholesale this year. So retail is a whole different beast. I know that a lot of people strive to be in Target and strive to be in Walmart, and I think that's a wonderful goal. That's not necessarily my goal right now. I really want to focus on wholesale and nurturing the community I already have, and then marketing efforts to find new individuals to purchase ROAME. So that's kind of like my 2-3 year plan at the moment for ROAME. Yeah.
Beautiful. Amazing. That's all I had. I know we're already at time, but Julianna, thank you for coming on and sharing this. Where can people like find you, connect with you? I mean, I know we just dropped like a bunch of stuff, but specifically like where can people find you, connect with you?
So my personal handle for my content creation is just at Julianna, JULIANNA_Claire. And then for ROAME, we are at ROAME.clean on socials as well. So that's where you can find us on socials, and then link in bio to go everywhere else. So
amazing. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your
story. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It was such a pleasure.
I'm fired up. I'm excited to see where ROAME goes, and have you on again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julianna. See you.
Bye.